Welcome, dear friends, to a journey into the heart of Wales, where history, identity, and language are deeply intertwined. Today, we explore the remarkable story of the Welsh language, one of the oldest living languages in Europe and a vibrant symbol of national pride. Spoken for over 1,500 years, Welsh has survived invasions, political pressures, and cultural shifts. It has endured not just as a means of communication, but as a living connection to the traditions, poetry, music, and spirit of the Welsh people. In this program, we will trace the origins of the Welsh language, its struggles for survival, and its modern-day revival. We'll meet passionate speakers, visit communities where Welsh thrives, and explore how education, media, and culture are helping to protect and promote this unique linguistic heritage. Why has Welsh endured when so many ancient languages have disappeared? What does it mean to speak and live in Welsh today? Join us as we celebrate the rich and resilient story of the Welsh language, a story of identity, perseverance, and the unbreakable bond between people and their words. This is Time Stream, and our journey into the language of Wales begins now.
My name is David, native-born Welsh guy from West Wales, and when I was brought up, basically, I was brought up in a Welsh-speaking family. My mother was English, but my mother learned Welsh at a young age, and my father was Welsh. And when I grew up, then I went to a Welsh primary school in my village in West Wales called Pencadr, and then I went to a Welsh secondary school. Now, people ask what's the difference between going to a Welsh school and an English school. Well, basically, the only class that you would have in English is actual English. And as far as the language would be concerned, we'd speak English socially, but everything at home was in Welsh. Your TV would be in English, and it was more than likely in the late 70s, early 80s, when Welsh started coming on to its own on the TV with its own dedicated channel. I'm not quite sure what year S4C actually came into being. Now, what's Welsh like? Well, it's a very old language. It's a Celtic language going back about 2,000 years. And really, the whole of the UK was basically speaking Celtic, and it was only pushed out to the peripheries really by the Angles and the Saxonese tribes that came over from Gaul and Germany, and basically the language was pushed out to the periphery, but it still remained strong in Wales and Scotland and Ireland. They developed its own type of traits and its own distinct sort of language, but in Wales there was a strong Latin influence left by the Romans, seeing as they were here for 500 years. Certain words like trist in Latin is sad, trist in Welsh all means the same. I speak Spanish quite good, and I still find some words in Spanish that actually mean exactly the same in Welsh, so it's all sort of loosely interconnected. But as the years flew by, from about the 5th, 6th century till about the post-Norman times, it was a settled down, properly evolved Welsh language as such. And it's only in the last 200 years really that the strong influence of English has come in to totally dominate the Welsh culture, with the influx of English immigration. So what we're left now is that in Wales, the strong Welsh-speaking parts are basically the Welsh coastline in West Wales, Cardigan and Carmarthen area, a strong pocket of it in North Wales, in Snowdonia and the Gwynedd and Llŷn Peninsula. Those are the predominantly main Welsh-speaking areas. The old border counties is predominantly English, I would say by about as high as 90% really now in the border counties, and especially so in South Wales. So really, I think the statistics are now we have about 20% or 500,000 people speaking Welsh as a first language in Wales. Even though all the signage is dual bilingual, all legal documents are bilingual. It's taught in the schools, predominantly like for primary, and then you have a choice when you go to secondary schools. There's not much by way of further education. I'm led to believe now that if you do an advanced degree, like a PhD in Wales in the Welsh language, you can actually do it for free because there's so little they promote funding for it to do any subject in PhD level. But then your research books is very limited because everything has to be in Welsh. What are the main differences between Welsh and English? Well, it's totally different really. More than anything, it's what English people have a problem with is the digraphs. Okay, there are 8 digraphs in Welsh, and those are the famous double L's, the CH's, the H's, and the H's. It's totally a distinct language from English. People do tend to find when you speak to them from abroad, they seem confused that the UK, like the home of English language, the world's most widely spoken language, has actually other languages within its borders. Like when they come here itself, when they hear it being spoken, they seem to enjoy it. But the biggest difference is when they do come into Wales, of course, the signage is everywhere and is bilingual. Even from where we are today, the signage for Brecon would be Brecon and Aberhonddu. And just to give you an idea that the name places in Wales actually mean something. So Aberhonddu means Aber is the head of a river or a river junction, and the second name Honddu is then the name of that river. So Aberhonddu is basically the headwater of the River Usk with the River Honddu, where Abergavenny is the headwater of the Fenny, and Aberystwyth is the headwater of the River Ystwyth. And then in Wales you have a lot of Llanbiangels, name places with the words Llan in it, like Llandysul, Llanbiangel, Llanrusted. Every place name with a Llan means that's a place, a village with a church, or a town with a church. So that's one of the main things, like with the place names. Anything with a pen means head. Very much involved with any place names with the Penmaen Mawr, or even geographical locations like Pen y Fan, which is the local mountain here. It's basically Pen is head and Fan is hill, so head of a hill type of thing.
The Welsh language, or Cymric, is one of the oldest living languages in Europe, with roots that stretch back more than 1,500 years. It is a member of the Celtic language family, which also includes Irish, Scottish Gaelic, Breton, Cornish, and Manx. Welsh evolved from the ancient Brythonic language spoken in Britain before the Roman occupation and continued to develop during and after Roman rule. By the 6th century, Welsh had clearly emerged as a distinct language, flourishing in the kingdoms of early medieval Wales. It became a language of poetry, law, and storytelling, with a rich oral and literary tradition. The earliest surviving Welsh literature dates from this time, including heroic poetry and religious verse. However, the language's status began to decline following the conquest of Wales by Edward I of England in the late 13th century. Over the following centuries, English gradually became the dominant language of administration, education, and public life. The 1536 and 1543 Acts of Union legally annexed Wales to England and effectively banned Welsh from official use. Despite this, Welsh endured, kept alive in homes, churches, and communities. The 19th and 20th centuries saw waves of both decline and revival. In the 1960s and 1970s, movements for language rights gained strength, leading to greater public recognition and legal protection. Today, Welsh is a co-official language in Wales, taught in schools and used in media, government, and daily life. Though it remains a minority language, it is experiencing a cultural and educational revival, supported by strong national pride and efforts to increase the number of fluent speakers. The history of Welsh is a story of resilience, identity, and deep-rooted cultural heritage, an ancient voice that still speaks powerfully today.
What's happening at this stage now is we've had 30 years of devolution now, where we've had laws brought into place with Welsh documentation, we've had dual language signs, the promotion of Welsh arts and culture with the TV station with the S4C. I've worked for S4C on numerous occasions, and of course, I don't know if people would understand the strong feeling of the Eisteddfod in Wales. The Eisteddfod is very traditionally Welsh. If I give you an example, when I was in school, we'd have every school term we would have an Eisteddfod. So your school would be split into houses, normally 3 houses. They would be colour named, and each school house then would compete against each other in the arts. So you would have acting competitions, you would have poetry competitions, you would have reciting competitions, you would have acting competitions, and then you would have a composition competition where somebody would be chaired. So basically they would be called the Bard, and you would win that competition. And that was the highlight of the school year, really. And that's the one strong trait in Welsh culture at the moment, because that Eisteddfod system is still going in the schools, and there is still the national Welsh Eisteddfod and an international Eisteddfod every year or every 2 years in any way in Llangollen. So the Eisteddfod is still the strong catalyst for the Welsh-speaking community, because your endeavours in the arts is rewarded at the Eisteddfod, and the pinnacle of the Eisteddfod is being awarded the chair. And if you get awarded the chair, which is the Bard competition in the Eisteddfod, it's a very prestigious Welsh accomplishment, and it's one of these accomplishments that basically is measured by standard. If you don't attain the standard, then they don't award the chair. Okay, so it's well worth going to a Welsh Eisteddfod just to see it, because the upside of the Eisteddfods is the producing in Wales of many people who have achieved international fame and fortune in acting and singing arena, such as Catherine Jenkins, Anthony Hopkins, Richard Burton. These are all people that have gone through that Eisteddfod system, and it's still within the blood of the community in most schools. I don't know if it's as strong on the border schools here in England now, but certainly is in West Wales and in Snowdonia and the counties of Gwynedd in particular.
The history of modern Welsh begins in the 19th century, a period marked by significant change, challenge, and eventually revival. While the Welsh language had been spoken for over a millennium, the Industrial Revolution, increased migration, and the dominance of English in education and government brought serious threats to its survival. By the late 1800s, the infamous Welsh Not policy discouraged children from speaking Welsh in schools, and many parents began raising their children in English, believing it offered better economic opportunities. Welsh became associated with poverty and rural life, while English was seen as the language of progress. Despite this decline, the 20th century witnessed a determined revival. In the 1920s and 1930s, Welsh intellectuals and writers began to promote the language as a core part of national identity. The establishment of Ard Gobeith Cymru in 1922 encouraged Welsh among youth, and in 1962, Simditha's YR Iaith Gymryd, the Welsh Language Society, was formed to campaign for language rights. These efforts led to key milestones. In 1982, the first Welsh language TV channel, S4C, was launched. The Welsh Language Act of 1993 granted Welsh equal status with English in public services, and the 2011 Welsh Language Measure further strengthened its legal protections. Education has played a vital role in the language's survival. Welsh medium schools have expanded significantly, and many young people in Wales today grow up bilingual. Government support, cultural pride, and media presence continue to boost its visibility and importance. While challenges remain, including maintaining speaker numbers and adapting to digital life, modern Welsh is no longer just a language of tradition, it is a living, evolving part of 21st century Wales. Its journey is a powerful example of resilience, identity, and national renewal.
So dim ond clywed bach o Gymraeg yn cael ei siarad. So, na beth fi'n gweud nawr yw, fi wedi bod yn siarad Cymraeg nawr trwy'n oes, a fi wedi cael pleser i siarad Cymraeg gyda teulu, a siarad Cymraeg yn gwledydd eraill fi wedi bod yna gyda Cymro arall. Ond ble i ni gyda Cymraeg yn Cymru? Wel, yng Nghymru yn really nawr, dim ond 1 mas o 5 o bobl sy'n siarad Cymraeg pob dydd. Yn gwaith, yn sosial, neu yn yr eglwys. A ffordd mlaen i siarad rhagor o Gymraeg i fi yw pobl i panso siarad Cymraeg amser maen nhw'n dod i'r dre neu dod i Cymru. Rwy'n peth amser mae rhywun yn mynd rhywle arall a chi dysgu iaith yn y gwlad chi'n mynd i. Lixen ni weld pobl yn gwledydd eraill i dod i'n gwlad ni a siarad y iaith o Gymru. A rwy'n peth am wedi Cymraeg yw, mae lot o bobl yn Gymru, amser maen nhw'n siarad Cymraeg, sy'n lot yn moyn siarad yn fluedig, achos maen nhw'n gweld bod fe'n bach yn pointless, achos dim ond yng Nghymru ti'n lle siarad y iaith. A na beth fi'n meddwl yn drenu nawr yw, mae ffrindiau da fi dros y gwlad i gyd, a sim un o'n nhw yn gallu siarad y iaith. Mae so ffrindiau fi gyd o gant, meddyn ni, mae 10 o'n nhw'n siarad Cymraeg, a sim y lleill a lot. Llawer o hwyl i ddysgu'r iaith o gwbl. So, na bydd Lixen ni'n gweld yw cael y pobl sy'n byw ma'n barod i siarad Gymraeg a cael y pobl sy'n mynd mewn i Gymru a i fyw ma i dysgu'r iaith fynd. Unless bod y pobl sy'n byw ma yn rhoi mwy o banso i dysgu'r iaith, wel, sim lot o hwyl wedyn ni i pobl o tu fas i dod mewn i siarad y iaith fynd.
As we conclude our journey through the story of the Welsh language, we are reminded that language is more than just words, it is a living link to history, identity, and culture. Against all odds, Welsh has survived and continues to thrive, thanks to the passion and determination of those who cherish and protect it. It stands today as a proud symbol of resilience and a vibrant part of Wales's future. Thank you for joining us in celebrating this extraordinary linguistic heritage. Until next time, keep exploring the voices of the past and the promises of tomorrow. This is Time Stream, see you next time.